Tonight, it's less than an hour left before federal food assistance programs, including SNAP, are scheduled to be cut off.
This comes after two federal judges, one in Boston and another in Rhode Island, ruled the Trump administration must continue SNAP payments to nearly 43 million Americans while the government remains shut down.
By the way, if you or someone you know needs help, you can scan that QR code on your screen. You see it there in the lower right for a list of food pantries in our area.
We begin our coverage in Washington. NBC's Ryan Nobles has the latest as Democrats and Republicans continue to blame each other for this crisis.
For millions of Americans set to lose government assistance to buy food Saturday, a reprieve. Friday afternoon, a federal judge in Rhode Island ordered the Trump administration to continue funding SNAP even as the government shutdown continues. The White House had said that government food assistance would end Saturday. The order affects more than 40 million Americans. But the court order does not solve the bigger problem. We're now 1 month into the federal government shutdown, and there's seemingly just one thing Democrats and Republicans in Washington agree on.
Your government is failing you right now.
Republicans pointing the finger at Senate Democrats, blaming them for the fallout of thousands of federal workers going without paychecks and the threat of millions being kicked off government assistance at any moment.
Every American who is concerned about this, every American that is feeling the harm, you should call the Senate Democrats and tell them to stop the nonsense.
But Democrats say a bigger crisis is on the horizon, and they won't vote to reopen the government until it's taken care of.
Republicans in Congress are still refusing to work with Democrats to stop the looming health care premium increases.
I'm always going to meet. All they have to do is open up the country.
Affordable Care Act premiums are set to see their biggest price hikes in more than a decade if Congress doesn't extend expiring federal subsidies. Millions of Americans caught in the middle.
It's not our fault that the government shut down, and obviously we would like our leaders to come to some sort of agreement or at least receive a paycheck.
In Washington, Chef Jose Andres' World Central Kitchen, which usually feeds the needy in disasters and war zones, is feeding furloughed federal workers. And across the country, food banks have been bracing for an influx of SNAP recipients as the fight over continuing those benefits rages on.
SNAP provides 9 times the amount of food that the charitable food system does.
I'm proud this place here, where we can get the things that we need.
Ryan Nobles, NBC News, Washington.
Nearly 1.4 million Ohioans could lose their SNAP benefits at midnight.
And efforts are already underway to help those in Northeast Ohio. Kristen Moran breaks down what's happening at both the state and local level.
Well, there's a lot unfolding around SNAP benefits right now, so let's break down where things stand at this moment. In Cleveland, city and Cuyahoga County leaders are taking action now. Cuyahoga County Executive Chris Ronayne, alongside other leaders, announced $600,000 in emergency food funding. That money will go to Greater Cleveland Food Bank since 190,000 residents in the county are at risk of losing benefits.
This emergency funding will not solve the whole crisis, but it will help families in every corner of our county.
At the state level, Governor Mike DeWine signed an executive order that will provide $25 million in food assistance to support families. That directs the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services to give $7 million to Ohio food banks and $18 million in emergency relief benefits to more than 60,000 Ohioans.
The average person on SNAP is the working poor, elderly, those families with children. We're not talking about someone who's getting thousands and thousands of dollars in food stamps. We're talking about someone who gets an average amount of money to get those basic necessities.
The reason this is all happening starts in Washington as SNAP funding is set to lapse. But two judges ruled that the Trump administration must continue to fund SNAP, ordering the government to use its emergency reserves to backfill SNAP benefits, which Democratic Congresswoman Shontel Brown says she's been pushing for, accusing Republicans of creating a crisis.
We believe this funding should be used now, and that is why I joined my colleagues this week in pressing the administration to tap this funding to get benefits out the door.
But this ruling is likely to face appeals, and Republican Senator Bernie Moreno is blaming Democrats.
We're about to have a total monumental disaster that's avoidable. Republicans have been virtually completely unified in funding the government, reopening the government. 3 Democrats joined us. We need 5 more.
So as we wait for the administration to respond to that ruling, Ohio's emergency dollars are the backup plan to make sure families don't go hungry.
Krista Moran reporting there. Again, we have a list of local food banks and pantries offering support in Northeast Ohio. You'll find that on our website, WKYC.com.